hold on a second. There we go. Okay, the key thing when it comes to this entire workflow is that you are able to do this with any character and be able to then take that pose that you get out of this and then use that as an image prompt in order to get them to recreate that pose with a complex background and lighting and everything else that Midjourney is amazing at doing at. So, and my immediate reaction to all this post was immediately like, I love this. This is amazing. Yes. Everything's on fire and I love it. And so I immediately started doing this with my characters and trying to see how we can push the limits of this. The thing is, I didn't stop there. I was like, oh, this is cool. I can make one character, spin them around, and then use that as an image prompt. That's neat. But what we're going to do is actually take this up a notch to talk about film blocking and composition. Because as we get more and more into video, you guys are going to want to make completed scenes. And our homework for this week was to produce a scene like we did last week. And we're going to focus on that on the latter half of the stream. So stick around if you did submit a scene to our for homework. We'll review those eventually. But I want to mostly get into how we can use these in a very dynamic and interesting way. So this is inspired by Bert's submission here of how to do multi-character blocking with these turnarounds. So you can see Bert here had created a turnaround of a character sitting in a chair, which is like another level to this. Just put your character in a prop and then get us a reference doing that. And they were able to create 2 unique videos and then, take the frames from those and make something like this. This is an image prompt that would become the actual composition that they used. And the final version of this is inside of their story here. But you could see how this workflow gives you a ton of control where Midjourney might be kind of like randomizing a lot more stuff than you would like normally. This is done because the image prompts that you're submitting are extremely similar to the end result that you want. It's just, there's a white background and the characters are lit evenly. It's a very smart and functional use of this. So let's take this up to a whole other level and redo this, but using video feeds instead of static images. So let me go ahead and get rid of this window here real quick. Let's see. Take out the tablet here. That's right. I don't want to do this. Nope. Stop it. Stop. Nope. Stop. Stop it, OBS. Stop it. There we go. Get rid of this. Oh no, why is that off frame now? Hold on a second. Everything is broken. Why is it so big too? I must have broke it at some point. Hold on a second. There we go. Okay. All right, so what I did here was I took 2 characters from the character portal and I want to have them talking with each other. And the thing is that if you're not familiar with what film and animation blocking is, it is the coordinated sequencing of compositions of your characters, of your scene, of their props, all that sort of stuff. I have a full list for you guys that I will be breaking down and showing off, but it is something that in order to create those, we can. It's one thing to create a storyboard or to otherwise look at references online of just people using specific blocks, or compositions. It's a whole other one to actually play with them in real time, right? And Eden is right. Yes, blocking is certainly fun. We really want to focus on having as much of a playground as possible. Okay, so I took an image of Gal from our fantasy story or series. Sorry, excuse me. From the fantasy series here. This is Gal. This is his reference image. And what I did is I created a quick turnaround of him, just a complete sheet. I didn't use the video turnaround model. I literally just asked for Midjourney to give me a full body character sheet depicting a purple wizard on a white background. He is wearing high heels. The ending there, that he is wearing high heels, I added that because the first go around, the iterative nature of the way that we do stuff with AI is I see where the inconsistencies with the character are, and it is one, he's holding a staff instead of a wand, and his shoes are flat, and so I just said he's wearing high heels, and that gave us this result right here. And so the thing about this is that I need to now finish up some of the inconsistencies with this before I felt comfortable using it. Particularly the fact that this is very common, that the front of his shirt is on the back and that his hat is not hanging down from the back of his head. There's also some like shortened fingers and things like that that I would then went into Photoshop and just quickly cleaned up for myself. Now that I had that cleaned up, because I can just show you guys that real quick. And minimize this. I cleaned these up and I gave them plenty of negative space around the character in order for me to create a dynamic 3D spin of Gal here. So I used the center version of him. I could have used the one on the right as well. I feel like the one on the left, because we do not see the shape of his hat really, it'll look more like a little cone hat as opposed to the kind of gnomish, wizard top that we have here. But this is the cleaned up version in Photoshop. I then selected a nice, good bounding, negative space around the character. If you do too tight, like this, if your selection is too tight, more often what happens is the character wants to act or behave in the scene and not be a 3D model like turnaround here. Even if there is a little bit of acting, like the character stepping to the side, left and right, there's no one prompting in Create. Did I miss something? No. There is no VC Create for today, but you're welcome to post the results of your videos and your images inside of VC Text, Enid. The reason why that is because we are focusing more and more on video, and I'm definitely wanting to kind of revamp how we approach live prompting, because we have limitations with video, but also I know a lot of people want to also go back to imagery, so it's a bit of a it's a bit of a balance here, and we are waiting on that being worked on as well. Thank you, Ancient. So the thing about this is that now that we have a decent amount of negative space around our character, the image has been cleaned up to our liking, we can now take this into Midjourney. And so the results that we get off of this, they do not have to be a complete spin. It just needs to show the, basically front to back. 180 degrees is the minimum. And so I got some that were very much acting or otherwise not really spinning around how I wanted them to. But I did get a result that I considered clean. And so let's go ahead and zoom in on that one here. So this is amazing. There is one moment where his hand becomes flat like 2D, like paper, right there. But otherwise, this is a very usable, 3D model for us to spin around. What is it? Oh wow, that's looking amazing, Enid. I'll show that here off in a minute. But what we do is we just go ahead and download our favorite turnaround from this. So I went ahead, hit the download button up top here, which downloads also, by the way, the web or social media version. If you go ahead and hit the right click and then download as raw video, it will be a much smaller image, but it won't have any low resolution look to it or anything like that, because you're blowing it up to a larger size. But that's not too important at this stage. What we mostly want to do is now get a second character to work with. So I grabbed Topaz from Zero. Zero submitted this character, and they already had a character sheet, but there was a lot of cutoff, right? We didn't have a top of the head, no feet, that kind of thing. So I decided to just run it again. I used the prompt full body character sheet depicting a white-haired rogue with a face mask. And I was most happy with this result here. OREF is really good. Omnireferencing is really good at just taking everything from the image and then repurposing it, uh, taking the context of what's written inside of your prompt. So, for example, if I would have said, hey, just change the background on this or whatever, I could have just prompted for a different background color and kept most of the prompt unmentioned, and it would have created this as well with a different colored background. But this is I first upscaled this in order to get kind of give me some options on the cleaner outputs here. So if we take a look at them here, I upscale creative a few of these because I really want to focus on making sure that this is has as clean of line work as possible. Almost only one of these had really clean line work, and so this is the stuff I look for when I'm doing upscaling. Okay, look at the face and then compare all four results. 1, 2, 3, 4. Though the fourth one is easily the cleanest. It has just the cleanest line work out of all these results because I'm looking for a specific detail and going, hey, yes, that's the detail I want to focus on. It helps just not get stuck picking options and all that sort of thing. But now that I had that, I then prompted for a 3D model turnaround, and you'll notice that because there's a more humanoid shape here, she actually walks around the image. Like she's not spinning like a 3D model is, and that's not a bad thing. Like that is actually something that gives us a more human and more natural performance of our turnaround as well. So depending on what you're doing, you may want to re-roll a couple times to see which results you want. This is the result I picked, but there are a lot of results here where the turnaround might not be complete or they otherwise cut off. Like this one's really good. I like the heels that she's wearing more. Look at the translucency of this random bit of fabric underneath here. That would confuse probably some things when it comes to image prompting later, but it is really cool that it's able to apply an effect like that and have it look so clean. And so we do have the problem of the back of the shirt reflecting onto the the front of the shirt reflecting onto the back. We may want to prompt inside of this a specific pattern or detail, like the fact that she's wearing a hood, for example, for Topaz might make the most sense. Yeah, I love her too, Zero, for sure. And so the thing is that I experiment a little bit more with just trying to get like maybe a high motion speed. That high motion is not the way to go. It creates a lot of chaos for the shape of your character. So keep it on low motion, and eventually you'll find something a good turnaround for your character. Now that we have these two videos, we can download them and then composite them together to create a dynamic blocking and composition tool with any video program that we want. And this is the part that I'm most excited to show you guys today. Okay, so I'm going to open up After Effects here, because you could do this with any editing program. You're going to see me using After Effects a lot because that's what I used when I was working in entertainment. I didn't do an intro for myself today, so I will do that really quickly. My name is Victor Gnarly. I'm a former visual effects artist for Cartoon Network and Adult Swim. I worked on shows like Robot Chicken, Moral Oral, and a whole bunch of other studio stuff back in the day. But now I'm doing this with you guys, and I'm having so much more fun doing this than the grind that was working in Hollywood. And so the tools that we have access to us now essentially let you guys do what I was doing, but with complete freedom. You could just go nuts. All right. And it's just, I'm so excited, but to see what just the public can do with all this. But Gompasta saying, wait for what? What do you want to wait on? I'm curious. Screw showbiz. Let's make videos. Wait. Oh, okay. I see. I got it. But the thing is that when it comes to using these videos, we can now take this and open up some After Effects here, which is my program of choice. Like I said, it's just the program I have the most history with. And I'm still looping this video. Let me open up our turnaround project that I have set up for you guys. Open recent, and there. Oh, nope. I need to just open it. I guess. Hold on a second. Don't save. Yep, there it is. Blocking. Okay. All right. So what I've done is I've dragged these two videos into After Effects. You could do this with Premiere, you could do this with Vegas, you could do this really with any program. But what I've done is I color keyed the backgrounds on both of these. So if you did like a blue background or green background, it would work even better. But I just color keyed the white out of this, and every editing program has a basic green screening tool now. But basically, what you can do now that you have these two videos is that we can not just scroll through the videos with the characters standing beside each other like this, but we can now dynamically pose each character that we want. So let's have them talking with each other. We'll create a quick two shot with an over the shoulder. So we can select both of these. We can scale this up like so. And then we can take, let's see, right there. Let's take Gal and move Gal around a little bit just to create a sense of scale between our characters here. And shrink down Topaz just a little bit. Something like this. And it lets us be able to, okay, this is our first shot now. That's how quickly we can block now by using these model turnarounds. So I'll go ahead and hit export frame here. And I will just save that wherever. Render. So that's our first frame. Let's have a scene where the characters are maybe in an argument or otherwise in a disagreement somewhere, or maybe Gal has hired Topaz to do something. We'll figure that out here in a minute. I mostly just want to go through a list of blocking that I have made for you guys. This is like a really robust list of basically every form of shot composition that I know of. I'm going to just copy and paste that for you guys here. It's going to be kind of a long list of imagery, or long text image here. Actually, let me break it up into a couple blocks here because Discord does not want me to copy and paste this whole thing. So let's do one. Okay. We have one here, and then the other half of it. Oh, the other third of it. I'm sorry. There's that, and one more. There you go. This is just a raw list, and I'll show you guys that here. This is a raw list of basically every major shot that's out there, and there are websites that can help you kind of visualize these, right? But this is what we're going to use to pick what shots we want to do, okay? So what I'm gonna do next is grab our two shot that we have here, which is an over the shoulder two shot. We can then start to position for our next shot here, and I'm just going to duplicate these layers like so, and then put another one on top, and then mute this one here. And the reason why is because lets me save the position of those for that shot. So let's go ahead and do a profile two shot here, like so. And we want to make sure we can really see the characters in full on this one. So we're just going to drop them down a little bit like this, and then we can scale this down evenly with the two characters, something like that. Okay. Now we have our two shot, our profile two shot, and I'll go ahead and export that. And all right. And now I will grab, again, I'll just duplicate this over, mute these two. And let's do a really dynamic shot here. Now, this doesn't take into consideration anything with camera angles, particularly the vertical angle, where we want to do like essentially like a very low or high angle, what do you call it? Extreme high angle, extreme low angle shot. That is going to require us to create a second video for these characters, which is like a spinning around vertically. I work in education teaching media, so a lot of this is the Teach Daily, which is the students that entirely ignore in their productions. Yeah. They usually just say, hey, let's set up the tripod and just shoot our character. As long as both characters fit in the frame, let's go for it. That's very common for that sort of lazy work to be done. So we don't want to break the 180 rule, which is where we swap where the characters are right now, because that is a bit disorienting for the audience. But what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to try to do some frame inside of a frame using maybe Gal's hand here, and just focusing on maybe something he does with his hand, right? So we can kind of overlay this like this, maybe drop this down as long as both characters fit in the frame, I wish. And we can then just maybe make it a bit more prominent. There we go, like that. I like that. So we have 3 shots now. I think this is enough for us to start with. Render. Oh, come on. Render. There we go. I am going to open these 3 shots inside of Photoshop now. Okay. Come on. There we go. And you can see we got a bit of a rough color key on the hand. Admittedly, just because I was not, I didn't prompt a color behind the characters for the turnarounds. It would have made a cleaner green screen if I would have done that. I think this will be okay. I don't think it'll be the end of the world for us to have a little bit of pixelation there. But you can see we have all 3 shots here now. And I can just simply copy and paste these into Midjourney and use them as image prompts. So let's do this shot first. I'll select the whole thing. And then I'll grab it. And we are going to open up. Here we go. Let's select our image prompt. We'll just paste that into Midjourney here. And then we are going to say that this is the... we could also include an omni-reference of these 2 characters if we had it already. But we could, let's do this. We'll just do both. We will hold shift and drag the image to omni-reference. And then we will say that this is a fantasy film depicting a purple wizard talking to a white hair rogue wearing a face mask. And then set the aspect ratio to 16:9. Whenever you're doing video, unless you're specifically trying to make like a TikTok video or whatever, 16:9 is going to be your default for most things. If you want to make retro videos, you want the aesthetic to look right, for like doing maybe like an 80s anime or a schlocky action film, you're going to want to use 4:3 instead, so that you're before the HD upgrade or update that happened in the late 90s, early 2000s. Yeah, it is something that, in terms of the aspect ratio of your movies, it will heavily dictate the end result of your image. So picking a good aspect ratio right from the get-go is super important in my opinion. We have ability to edit it later, but it is just important in my opinion to do that now. So let's go ahead and say this is a fantasy film depicting a purple wizard talking to a white-haired rogue wearing a face mask. I'm not worried about using any sort of mood boards or style references or anything like that right now. We are just going to iterate. We're going to figure out what it's going to take to make this composition work. You'll notice that in the omni-reference and the image prompt, they are talking on a white background. So we need to take advantage of omni-referencing and remove that white background. It is something that we are able to do so just with prompts, but we essentially start off with this to confirm our results, to make sure that everything's working as we intended it to. And frankly, we shouldn't see the image change very much if we're doing this. So let's see here. We have one of our results is almost 1-to-1 identical with what we have, which is perfect. Now what I want to do is I want to say fantasy film depicting a purple wizard talking to a white-haired rogue wearing a face mask. They are in a, or let's instead of they, because they is a bit too ambiguous. Let's say 2 people talking in a coliseum. Let's see, in the ruins of a coliseum. It's gonna probably put us in Rome, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. And then hit enter on that. Because we are describing a background, there's a very good chance that the backgrounds will start to basically fill in the frame, because it's part of our prompt. We may have to lower the image weight via a parameter to get rid of how white or overblown some of the image is, but that's okay. We'll show that next. Remember, the image prompt is conserving our composition of the image. The fact that this is a two shot, okay? That's why the details of it don't matter too much. Just the fact that it matches our intent in the shot. And you can see that now we have something like a ruins of a Colosseum in the background, but it's a bit chaotic right now because the image prompt is dominating these. This is much better, but Gal is starting to morph a little bit. We're gonna see how much work we got to do to get this shot. Okay, so let's first try lowering the image weight to make the image have a much less white background on there, because that's also being, the negative space is heavily influencing it's heavily influencing what is inside this imaging. So let's go ahead and now write -IW and then set this to 0.3. Okay. The default is 1. So by lowering it to like 0.5, 0.3, something like that, you're going to allow Midjourney to fill in a lot more of that negative space that's inside of the image prompt. So let's see what we got. And keep in mind, we haven't even described the shot inside of the prompt. This is all direction from our imagery, which is what makes the difference on this, you know? And you can see as the result starts to come in, by lowering the image prompt, we get some very close results, but we also allow for them to be on their knees and crouch down. This is all because the image prompt itself is just not influenced. Doesn't have as much influence as it did before. We even got a blue sky in one of these, which is great. But we want to pick the result that really reflects our intent the most here, right? And you could see that I would say that probably this result here is closer. It definitely preserves a lot of Gal, a lot of the character details here. But what I want to do now is we're going to try to apply a style reference. And it might be a little early for a style reference, but let's just apply the original image of Gal that we had as the style reference, okay? And then we're going to run that. And the reason that I'm doing this is because I want to see if we can kind of fill in some of these, these variations on Gal in particular using sref for that. So let's see how this result comes out. Because style reference is going to help constrain the line art and some of the color palette and all that kind of stuff. And if you do feature cartoony things inside of your style reference, it's going to feel more cartoony. It's going to give us results that might look more like an animated film at this point. Because we definitely get plenty of painterly mixing in of that as well with this. But I just love the performances that can happen if you include a style reference where the character is clearly, in the image or otherwise emoting in the image. I think that really helps when it comes to getting our final mood. Like, look at this. We have the Colosseum. We have a 2-shot. We have the character scaling dynamic has been respected with this shot here. But maybe there's like 1 or 2 details that don't work for you. We can in-paint those. But this is so close already. Why don't we just run a variation? We'll do a variation subtle so that we preserve our composition, but we're going to allow for details to change. This is huge, guys. Like, this is just amazing for us to be able to just dive right in and start making these dynamic compositions. Let's see. 22 panels that always work. Let's go ahead and see these results now. All right. That's looking pretty good. I like this one the most probably, but she's starting to morph pretty good in a lot of these results. So we might want to dial back that style reference a little bit. Let's go ahead and do this one more time, but this time we're going to add another parameter, which is hyphen hyphen SW, which stands for style weight. So right now the default is applied. Let's drop that below 100 because I believe the max is 1,000 on that. Let's and the default is 100. Let's drop that to like 35 or 50. Okay, so we'll do 35. So there's still some influence of the cartoony aspect of this, but we're very much leaning on the basics of this image. So thanks for posting that, Enid. That's pretty cool. This is actually way more promising with the lower style weight. And the reason why is because I looked at her and I saw all those variations of her where she's almost wearing a COVID mask at points, right? That I saw as directly a byproduct of these changes between applying the style, between not having a style reference and applying the style reference. Um, the the reason why that's important to recognize is that I do the same process with almost every creative consulting that I've done, where I don't actually. I mean, I've done this with 3D printers for years, but the idea is that I only change one variable at a time. It might sound like it's more wasteful on time and materials, but this is literally how you hone in and calibrate your 3D printer and anything that has a ton of variables to it. Just change one variable at a time. Okay. And so by focusing on the changes that happen between each change we make, it lets us make a more educated guess at what the next thing should be. And now, boom, this is amazing. We have Gal properly represented. We have Topaz properly represented, and they are communicating in a two shot just like we had before. Now we want to make sure that we do a variation of this just to see if we can clean up some of this line art at all. Like we notice that there's like multiple hands of Gal here. We could see if we could fix that with a variation, and maybe just make one that we like a little more. But this is huge because this lets us be able to now use this image as the final style reference and preserve the environment, preserve the lighting, preserve so many little details about this that we love. And we can start to move on to the next shot. So let's go ahead and see which ones I like the most. I like this one a lot actually, but let's see if I like it more than this one. I'm looking at like her outfit as well, making sure that it's pretty clean. Yeah, we'll go with this one. And the final step really is to upscale. I do one subtle because subtle doesn't change between each variation or each attempt very much. But upscale creative, I will do between 3 to 5 times. And the reason why I do that is because every time you hit creative, it makes decisions that could heavily improve the final line art quality of your image. And because version 7 doesn't let us do variations after, or sorry, doesn't let us use the editor and stay within version 7. It's technically 6.1 whenever we start messing with the editor. In my opinion, it's incredibly important to have the best line work that you can get out of Midjourney once you do the upscales. Okay, so let's look at all three of the creatives and the subtle as well. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So the subtle is our base. That gives us an idea of like what it's going to be referencing off of for this. And I do like the third one the most out of all these, and that's because of Gal's face. It's because of some of the details inside of his hand are better represented, and she has I like her outfit more in this one. Okay, but we could just keep doing that. I mean, if we wanted to rerun this twice more and then compare those and see if these are an improvement of this one, then that's how I pick the final line art for whatever imagery that I'm going to be using. Um, at least in version 7. 6.1, especially with Niji 6, was a bit easier to get clean line art. But it is something that is a byproduct of just the sheer potentiality of version 7 is so much bigger. So means more things can go wrong. But let's take a look at these here, and yeah, I'm gonna stick to the one that we had. Let's go with the third upscale creative result. And now I will copy this. We're going to copy the image, okay? And I will just save it inside of my composition, inside of Photoshop here. So we'll go new, create that, and turn on the tablet so you guys can see what I'm doing. I paste the image into there. You could just save it wherever, really. I'm just using Photoshop because it's open and convenient for me. But I'm going to now make a storyboard sheet or shot list with this. So we have this first image. I'm going to now get rid of Photoshop, and we're going to take that image and drag it up to the style reference here. Okay, that basically is going to preserve this shot, the style of this shot. We shouldn't have to worry about calibrating the style weight nearly as much anymore. But we can, borrow aspects of our previous prompts to kind of speed up this process now. So let's go ahead and grab the second composition here, which is our 2/3 shot here. Let me open that up for you guys. Yeah, this shot right here. Let's go ahead and grab this, making sure we have the full thing. Yep, okay. And now I am going to just copy that and then paste it into Midjourney. Again, as an image prompt, and then shifting it over to an omnireference as well. We may not actually need it as an omnireference. We could also probably use this as the omnireference, but we don't see the details of her that we're going to need in order to complete this shot right here, at least to make it accurate, okay? And it's okay that the image prompts are all low resolution. That's fine, because the omnireference is going to handle most of the, Midjourney is going to handle most of these details anyway. So let's go ahead and say that, boom, we'll just copy the previous prompts and their parameters. But I am going to take away for now, because again, we're starting with a new image. I'm going to remove the weights of both the style and the image weight. And then we'll see if we need to kind of wiggle ourselves back to what we had before. I know that Tanner asked this earlier, or about whether or not this is on YouTube. It will be on YouTube. It is something that I am in the process of uploading about 3 or 4 streams, but 2 of those streams sadly got corrupted by. It's the whole reason you see a new set for me today, is because I had 2 streams where a Windows update completely wrecked my settings. I didn't realize what was happening until it was too late. I had not just doubled up audio, but I even had like video encoding errors and things like that. It was awful. So I apologize for those 2 streams. I'm going to try to salvage what I can from them, but it is true that whenever Windows does the Windows thing, it is awful. Yes, and thank you for linking the crap shots. It was all because a Windows update changed all of my inputs and ruined a program which has been giving me so much frustration called a Voicemeeter Banana. I'm no longer using Voicemeeter Banana. Instead, I am using Logitech's Mixline, and that is so much better because it gives me a nice visual of all my audio cables. They're virtual audio cables that don't actually exist and cause me headaches. But is that free? It is, actually. We did try to use one of the proprietary ones and it didn't work. But just search for Logitech Mixline, and you'll be able to do some custom routing with that. In fact, I'll show you what my routing looks like. I just need to make sure I don't like dox myself with any of this info. Okay, yeah, we should be good. Okay. Just to show you guys what this looks like, this is what Mixline, basically what it lets me do is live control the different audio feeds, and you can see it has a nice little graphic of these lines all connecting where they should be. But I have my headset. I have the Mixline stream, and then I had the Mixline record. And the idea here is that, you know, when you guys are feeding and talking into our streams and stuff, it filters all that into here so that if I need to mute you guys or anything like that, I can just have one button to do that. But everything feeds into record here. So it's really easy for me to, yeah, it is a lot better than Voicemeeter Banana, for sure. Okay, all right. I've ranted about that enough now. Let me minimize this. And let's see here. That's right. We have our shots here. So now that we have our 2/3, look at this. Like it's already, it's without changing any of the image weights, we're already closer because we have the style reference applied here. Now Topaz's hair is a little wild, but it is there. Like this one is really good actually. But let's go ahead and apply some of the parameters we had before to take a look at the results. We'll probably need to run less of an image, or sorry, we probably need to drop the image weight less than we did before because we are already noticing so much of the background from the style reference. So let's go ahead and grab our style weight and our image weight. We'll just run this as with all of our parameters that we had before. But I'm also going to run one where we do not lower the style weight, just so we can see, we can compare what those two do. Also, I am rendering everything here with turbo mode, so it's all going a bit faster than it would be for you guys normally, especially in relaxed mode. But it is something that if you do need to do like a presentation or you're showing off Midjourney for somebody, you can turn it on. It's just more costly on your account. So keep that in mind. You know, you don't want to burn through all your credits just because you know wanted to see this video happen sooner. Um, but let's compare. We have ones with a low image weight and then ones with the image weight or sorry, with the style weight uh, unaltered here. And in terms of the image, it looks like the style weight being you know, shortened to this. It didn't really change very much um, of the background or anything that I was really intending for this to. Like we almost got our two shot back here, but this is already pretty good. I'm noticing that if we maybe increase the image weight, we might be able to hold our poses and our characters a little better. So let's try this. We'll hit use on this. Seeing as the style weight didn't really change much here. In fact, it kind of lowered her style a bit. I'm going to not alter that, but I am going to increase this, the image weight, back up to like maybe 6.6. Let's try that. So we went from 0.3 to 0.6. And thanks everyone who's sticking around here. We have a couple new faces I don't recognize here. Geese, welcome. Viceroy, welcome. Sardak, welcome. And if it's a couple other faces are kind of cut off for me here, so because I for some reason have streaming mode turned on for Discord, but I just wanted to thank all you guys for being here, especially the regulars. There's a couple folks here that I obviously are, I know who you are. There's plenty of you here. But it is something that the dedicated supporters of me and all the stuff that we do here is just it really makes this worth doing so much. So thank you guys so much for being here. Okay, so let's look at what happened when I increased the image weight here. We got a little bit of those white background here, but Gal is so much better represented in all of these in terms of his position and his shape. I like this one particularly is pretty good. We might want to change her a little bit here, but I think this is pretty good. He kind of warps and distorts because we are applying so many the image weights and stuff on here. Let's try one just for the sake of experimenting. Let's try one where we actually remove the image prompt entirely. Okay. And I'll rely on the Omni reference to dictate the composition of the shot. I think we're going to see things wildly moving around because we do not have the image prompt constraining the image anymore. basically nullifying a lot of the setup or blocking of our composition that we had before. Like she might be in the right position, but Gal will move, or vice versa. We'll see what happens here. It's actually looking pretty good. So we have one shot here that I'm happy with that I'll probably end up doing variations on. And then we have another shot here that I do like that we'll do variations on as well, I think. Yeah. Both of these are good. But you could see like the variations that happen within Omnireference of like the influence of putting this random blue shawl on her and all that stuff. I find that to be where Omnireference kind of falls apart when it comes to a certain, I can change anything, so I'm going to change random parts of your character or the image here. We could change the weight of the Omnireference, but just between these two results that we have here, I really want to focus on which one is going to give us the right shape for each character. So surprisingly enough, it's like this one, the beard for Gal is wrong. This one here, the shawl is there, but his beard is accurate here. Okay, so why don't we try this? I'm going to run a variation on both of these and see if we could change those shapes slightly. And then we'll hone in with which one's going to be our over the shoulder. We could also prop these in video, but again, video is limited to 480p, and I want to make sure we get some high res results out of this. Okay, we'll see how this goes. Today I'm sipping on a mixed berry smoothie. Um, I I found another smoothie place in town. They don't have coffee, sadly. I did find a new smoothie shop, but it's my local bagel shop, and I'll tell you right now, it's run by children. It's run by children, and those children don't know how to do anything right. I my bagels and smoothies, yeah. I watched them cut a cucumber by holding the cucumber vertically and then only using the very tip of the knife to cut it into slivers. Okay, with their hand on the backside of the it made me it literally made me go, okay, you're gonna stab your palm with this knife at some point in your life, right? They put holes in my donuts. Okay, let's take a look here. Um, Out of all these results, this one's pretty good. This one's pretty good, and the variations all kind of kept the shawl here on this one. So I like this one a lot. You can see the ones I end up picking are the ones that have our process in it. It's the image prompts, you know. Um, let's see. Let's see. And this is New York City. My bagel shop doesn't know what a schmear is in this New York City. That is sad. That is sad. But okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at these results here. And what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to upscale this result here, doing our same technique that I had before, where I upscale creative 3 times and then take a look at the best one. And if I feel like there's still some potential for it, I'll rerun that. But I'm pretty happy usually with one of the 3. All right, let's take a look. So we have 1 and 2 and 3. This one's better, but we have a little bit of what I call this AI glow that's here, where you can see that there's like a shiny, lighter color on the edges of things. That I have to rerun this because it is something that I feel like we can maybe get a better, like this one's pretty good for Gal. She's a little smeary though on this one, so let's go ahead and rerun this 2 more times and see if we can get a better result. So far, this is the best one though, I think. I know that we've also been doing this all in version 7. You can do a lot of this with Niji 6, with version 6.1, really. Midjourney Video is not limited to version 7. You can do this workflow with most versions of Midjourney actually. So if you have a more preferred one, use it. You know, especially if your production works in a very specific way. This one's still submitting. This one bugged out for us here. So let's hit cancel on that. I'm just going to compare these two. I like this one. Okay, let's go with this one. Copy image. Okay. And once again, we are opening up Photoshop here and grabbing our projects here. Boom, like so. Now we have our second shot. Okay. And let's go ahead and try our other one here, because next week what I want to do is I want to try making dynamic spins of these characters so that they do more than just spinning on the x-axis and having them also spin on a vertical axis. I know that this was brought up on our server at one point to be able to do like high angle shots, or to be able to otherwise treat them like real 3D models. That we'll get to that point. I think that's just going to take prompting for a specific thing, and we'll go from there. Yeah, spin. Yeah, exactly, Lolo. But now that we have two shots, let's get this third one in. So we have this one here. Copy. Okay, and this one we might need to describe a little more of what we want to see in this shot. So I'm going to borrow the style reference from this one again. Hold shift and drag to also make that the Omni reference. And now copying the prompt and the parameters used, I am going to just do a slight, a fantasy film depicting a purple wizard talking to a white hair rogue wearing a face mask. Two people talking in the ruins of a coliseum. Okay, so we're gonna say that in fact, let's just run this, and then we'll make our judgment off of that after that. So I've now copied that, pasted it in, done all this stuff. Sorry, I realized that my window was covered with the Photoshop stuff, but we have this as the style reference. We have our shot as both the Omni reference and the image prompt, and then I've copied all the prompt from previous results. And look at that. Look how good this works. It's just amazing to me. Okay. Especially if we wanted to describe, say, hey, let's have the character leaving the shot, or maybe she's being dismissive. It is so much easier now to do, because the only thing I have to do is say, like, okay, if she doesn't want to be talking to him, right? I just open up After Effects again. We go, oh, okay, I'm working with a director here, and he doesn't like that she's looking at camera here. I can just shift her around as needed, okay? So, like, if I want her to be, like, ignoring him, or maybe he comes up from behind her, right? To start the conversation rather than end it, or whatever. We just move her around individually within this, okay? Isn't that awesome? That's insane, right? That we can just go ahead and control them so dynamically. So let's go ahead and now export this frame here and just compare the results that we get from that. So composition, save frame, file, and render. Nice loud render sound for you guys. And open that up in compositions here. Oh, desktop. Is it this one? Nope. This one? Yes. Okay. So I will grab this image here. Do the exact same thing that we did before. Okay. And we just hit use inside. Actually, let me turn this off. There you go. We can just hit the use button here, and that will copy all of our settings and stuff from this image here. But we're just going to paste this into here, and you'll notice that it's going to put a side by side with our old image and this image. But we're just going to get rid of this one and then drag this one over to Omni Reference, and it should be our updated image. Okay. Boom. And you can notice that there is still a little bit of pixelization. Like there is some funkiness that happened because we didn't do an overlay, or we didn't clean up those pixels there. But we'll be able to make that work inside of InPainting pretty easily. So now we're just going to let this new version run where she is not looking dead at camera. And And it's funny. I use phrases like that, like dead at camera, which means that you're not acting. You're just kind of like there, standing in the shot. It is something that I do laugh at because people claim AI images are really dead feeling or soulless or whatever. So when I say that, I don't mean that. I mean the character is not emoting in a specific way that we need them to at this moment. And so you could see that by changing it, we actually got a drastically different result than we had before. And it's still rendering it. But this is largely because the two images that we have here don't actually describe, or sorry, the prompt that we have here doesn't actually describe what we intend with this image. We do have two people talking, yes. But in this image, guess what they're not doing? They're not talking to each other. He is approaching her from behind. Okay, so let's update our prompt to reflect this. Again, I do this in iterative ways. I allow myself to know that every image that I get from Midjourney may not be the final one that I use. Okay, and that's okay. Like that's actually the better way to do this. Is to not have that expectation because it lets you explore more. It lets you have more fun with this. And so let's go ahead and adjust the prompt to now be accurate to what's inside of the image prompt. Okay. So say that a fantasy film depicting a purple wizard approaching a white-haired rogue, and keep in mind, we do not see her face mask in this image. Okay, so that means by including wearing a face mask, we are forcing the character to look at the camera or to be visible to us that she is wearing this, because that's part of the image that we are constructing. Get rid of that. Okay. Two people talking in the ruins of a coliseum, that's still happening. But the one thing we need to remove there is the talking part. Two people in the ruins of a coliseum. Okay? And then we will submit that. We might need to emphasize that we see the backside of her. No, just recognize that certain phrasing of certain wording can get you, limits, at least filter wise. So we might want to say like the back of her robe or the back of her outfit or something rather than backside or anything like that. But look, okay, hold on. Why is there a JoJo meme? Why is there JoJo? Oh, you're approaching me? Dio. I did have someone message me on Reddit after I posted a comic. Okay? And it said, you were expecting a lewd DM? No, it's just Dio. It's me, Dio. And we had a back and forth. That was one of my favorite interactions with a random Redditor that I've ever had. Okay? Because they were completely receptive to every AI image of Sage that I was sending him, of reacting to Dio as if the scene was happening. And it is so funny to me. It is just so funny to get people role-playing like characters that we all recognize, and they're role playing with my characters that I invented. It's so fun. But let's go ahead and take a look at this. Oh my god, we got the shot 1-to-1 as intended. Look at that, guys. Like, yes, there is some funkiness with fingers. No big deal. That's what the variation button's for. Okay. I love that we're getting this. Okay. Now I am curious, just for the sake of experimentation here, what if we then downgraded from version 7 to maybe Niji 6? I know that Lolo Soon right now is somewhere in the world, somewhere on the other side of the world going, yee, we're going to do Niji 6 again. We're just going to do Niji 6 and let's see here. And the trick is for this, if you don't want to have to mess with the omni-reference weights or anything like that, because the omni-reference doesn't exist for Niji 6, we just write --CW, which is the previous role or what OREF replaced, which was character referencing. We are going to write CW, and then we'll put like, I don't know, like 95, 90, that something like a very, very high number, but not 100%. And then we'll just hit submit on this. Then we'll get our Niji 6 version of this. We'll see how this comes out. I'm just curious. But this, look at this. We just picked the one that we like the most from here in terms of line art quality and all that kind of stuff. There you go. Like this one is probably great for what we will intend to do. I will go ahead and already copy this before we look at the Niji 6 version. Photoshop. Grab our compositions here. Oh, that's right. I need to upscale this. I'm skipping a step. But let's take a look at the Niji 6 versions and see why, while that's upscaling, we'll see why version 7 is as powerful as it is, but also why some people really like versions Niji 6. The two character aspect is largely broken with character referencing. It's an older version of this sort of referencing tool. So look at how inconsistent we have between recognizing that there are two separate characters inside of this shot. This is where OREF really dominates the results, is that, or at least makes really great consistent results, is that we're able to preserve that these are two separate characters. They're not welding together in some odd way where she now has a purple outfit and is turned 3/4 and just blah, 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 blah. That is entirely a product of Niji 6, while version 7 is just so much more complex. It's so much better at doing specifically control, right? So as much as I do like, say, like the hands and fingers and consistency of certain details, like this is way cleaner of a background than we would sometimes get with version 7. Oh my god, like this is best though. Like just look at the consistency that we're getting of our intention here. That's the key thing, is our intention is preserved. So I'm going to pick this one here. I'm going to copy it and then bring it into Photoshop. Okay. We now have our shot list. Okay, look at this. Let's give them a bit of an interesting sort of moment here. We will make this now the starting moment, because we were like, oh, what if he approaches her from behind? Okay, so this is something we created in the moment, right? And then he interrupts her and she's like, are you the client? And he's like, I am a client, or just I just see him being a bit of an unnecessary grump about everything. So let's go ahead and just compress this down a little bit here, and I am going to copy this as a single smart layer or smart object so that I can easily copy and paste it for you guys here as well. Actually, I'll just include all three as separate images for you guys, just so that you guys have them. So we'll do shot 1. Oops, nope. Shot 1, copy and paste into VC text. Shot 2, copy, paste into VC text, and then shot 3. No, stop it. There you go. Boom. Okay. I'm going to zoom myself out here so we can see that. Haha, I showed up from the corner again. I crawled out of this hole. So you guys now have all three of these images, okay? They are the raw versions of them. We have not cleaned up any of the details in them, but it is the same two characters talking in a very similar location. And we can now, create a dynamic video sequence with this, okay? So let's take, say, what do you guys want me to do? Do you guys want me to clean up certain details or just immediately run into video here? Because I do want to clean up this hand really quick. I will do that, but it is something where if you guys want to, feel free to just dive into details. I am also going to include the character sheets of these characters so that you guys have them as well. So let me go to create here and grab what we used to build this. Oh, look at that. It's lagging for me. Hold on a second. This is everything we did here. Oh no. Can I click the spoiler image? I imagine I can, but I always...
Yes, you can.
Okay. Just remember, I made this a while back for reasons. Yes. Perfect. I love that image prompt. It's me, Ancient. Let's see here. Let's go ahead and grab our image prompt that we used for Topaz, and then our image prompt that we used for Gal. The full sheets are available at the character portal on our server, okay? But now you guys have the reference images so that if you want to inpaint with, say, version 6.1 or NG6, you could just inpaint with the editor using this image of Gal. You could also use any of the other images that we have of him, as well as for Topaz here. So now that we have all this doing fun stuff, I am going to quickly clean up this hand because we did get a little bit of artifacting from those pixels that are there. That's just fine. Again, it's really easy for us to fix this up. So we are going to copy image URL, go into the external editor here, hit new, edit new image, edit off a URL, paste our URL into there. As soon as that loads, I will use our image of Gal as a reference. So copy image address and then paste the image into the prompt bar up top. We could go in and manually edit or change the versions and all that kind of stuff. It's easier for me just to write the to write the versions into the prompt bar here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to zoom in for you guys to see this. Okay. Move myself out of the way again. Lock this. There we go. Okay. And now I'm going to drag our... Why is this not loading? Why is it frozen? Hold on a second. We got a little bit of a frozen moment here. Let me refresh this. Okay. Let me paste that image back in. There you go. There's the image. I don't know why it froze there. We will drag it to OmniReference, but we will not be using it as an OmniReference. We are using it for inpainting. So that means that we first need to add the appropriate parameters for that. Did he say needy? Yeah, right. Bro, I'm a raid Gal's closet if he got more inventory like them shoes. Gal is about showing off his style. He wears high heels. He has now granted a lot of the wizards wear fancy stuff that otherwise has no, because the idea is that the wizards are kind of in their own bubble. They don't need to wear armor. They don't need to wear like protective gear. They don't need to care about how fast they run because they have magic at their disposal. So why not look like aristocratic douches? You know what I mean? As much as possible. Like Gal cares about his figure in a way, like he likes the shoes. He makes him taller, all that kind of stuff. Especially the high heels is just a way to make you feel more important. I was inspired by Invader Zim with the tallest for that, right? Just like they want to have a taller presence with each other, so they'll just get higher stilettos to do that. Aristocratic niches, yeah, there you go. So let's go ahead and finish this up here. I've grabbed this to OmniReference. We have his OmniReference in here. Now I will change that to make sure that it's respected as a character reference. So we will use CW90, and I'm just going to use version 6.1 this time. Whenever I'm trying to composite a scene, where I need to kind of make it make sense, like dynamically or with volume, especially like space and volume, I prefer version 6.1 over an EG6 for this kind of stuff, even with drawn stuff. It just kind of helps lock in the world a little better in terms of its understanding when doing depth and all sorts of stuff like that. So let's go ahead and zoom in here. And I'm basically going to just focus on the white outline around the fingers and just inpaint those really quick, because that was our error that we had from our image prompting. Because the videos for now are very low resolution, those sort of errors might come up a little more often. And we might want to also be able to include his other hand here, right? So let's just go ahead and also inpaint this entire hand here. All right, right there. And I am going to say that this is the back of a purple wizard. And then, let's see, approaching a white hair rogue just white hair rogue. That's fine. And I will inpaint with that. Let's see how far this gets us on its own. I'm basically just looking for the errors and in painting those. I might get rid of a finger or two to just kind of help the composition a bit. But we could also include Gal's wand in his hand instead of just his open palm here. But let's take a look at what these results are and then make our decisions after that. All right. Let's see here. Oh, I like some of these other hands too. Look at that. Okay. Yeah, I like this one a lot actually. I like how odd it is in terms of the exact position of where his thumb would be is a little ambiguous, but I like this a lot here. I'm gonna get rid of this finger that's undulating out from him, and maybe we'll put his wand in there and see if we can get the other shots to also include the wand. But I'm also gonna get rid of this kind of golden strap that's here because it kind of breaks up the line art. It's a bit distracting, and then I'm gonna hit submit. I hope this little tutorial of using 3D blocking is exciting for you guys because man, it's exciting for me. As soon as I remembered that, I was like, oh yeah, no, I can just move layers in After Effects. And, oh, oh, okay, no, this is awesome. It's
It's
reminding.
really cool.
You're right. I really do dig it. It is one of those things where it's reminding me of blocking in 3D programs like Maya and Blender and whatnot. The more control we have without complex tools, it's just ridiculous that what we can do. It's awesome. That play and animation and blocking is a game changer. Blocking is awesome. Yeah, let's just to show you guys that one more time here for anyone because I saw that we had 2 or 3 new people come up into here. This is what we were focusing on today was creating dynamic blocking with our 3D model turnarounds of our characters. Okay, so what we can do is let's just make 2 new layers so that we have something fresh to work with here, like so. Get rid of these two. We've already imported the 2 video files of our character turnarounds, and we have used color key to what is it to balance these out. Oh, that's right. I'm still sharing MJ. Thank you so much for that. Okay. All right. I'm still getting used to this new overlay, guys. I'm so sorry. The let's show this off really quick for the new folks that are here. Okay. So I have set up, I've imported both videos of our turnarounds. We have turnaround 1 of Gal, okay? And we have turnaround 2 of Topaz. These are 2 characters that are in our character portal. And you'll notice that with Topaz, she actually walks around to complete the turnaround. And that's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that. If we were in a 3D modeling program and our character suddenly started walking, we would be terrified. Like, why is it doing that? That kind of thing. But what we're going to do here instead is we now import these 2 video files, okay? And we are going to use them to create blocking. Let me get rid of this first. Close panel. And I will bring this down so that it's a little more obvious what we're doing. There we go. And there we go. All right. So we have the 2 characters' backsides here. We just select which character we want to spin around with that layer, and then we just pick the angle that they are that we want them to be interacting. So if say we wanted to do that over the shoulder shot again, we just can save this composition here. But maybe we want to have actually him, like maybe they notice a sound over to the side of them. So why don't we just find that angle of her somewhat in the right position like that, and now they are reacting to a new like a new thing that's approaching them from the side. Like, isn't this awesome? Yeah, I use Photoshop for basic video stuff. You could totally use Photoshop for a lot of this too. It's just going to be a bit smoother with an editing program. So because we get these nice thick layer blocks for each video. So now we can save this as an image prompt and then use that image prompt to create something like this. Not me, don't highlight it. Something like this. Yes. So we have our composition that we've now in-painted with new details of particularly Gal's fingers in the right positions here. That looks all good to me here. We might want to add a little bit of a thumb line here, but everything's good. Everything's good. let's go ahead and use this. And thank you, Golem, for relinking that. Define blocking. I think I see what you are doing, but just curious what you really mean. Okay, all right. So this is important. So when we are creating a composition, it is just a composition is just is the general balance and position of objects, people, and shapes of your scene. Okay, so blocking the choreographed sequencing of those compositions. So if you look at our Photoshop storyboard here, this is blocking, where we are saying we are starting off with a position of he is towering over her a bit, therefore he is coming into a scene with a bit more authority to her. What this scene evokes for me in terms of the blocking or the composition, and then later on the blocking here, the composition is evoking that he has a sense of authority, that she is waiting for him, and that's all told just through the angles and of the camera and their position here in the frame. Now, with when it comes to the next shot here, I wanted to make it to have an emphasis that the characters are eye to eye, actually, that they are meeting. Basically, she is not nearly as big as this previous shot imposes. That means that maybe she has an upper hand on him, or maybe there's otherwise a balance that's happening. We're balancing the shot more, therefore balancing the power dynamic between our characters. The psychology of this, of jumping between these two logics, is blocking. Is the core of blocking. And we can essentially start to portray not just the literal beats of our shots, but also the psychology behind what our audience feels when they see these shots in this certain sequence. So I always understood it to be in the step of storyboarding that is mapping out the beats of a shot, less granular than keyframes, but more granular than a full scene. It's really, blocking is actually something you do specifically between a director and an actor. It is something that you are saying, I am moving the camera towards your face here because this is your moment, this is your time to shine, and I want you to cry as soon as we zoom in on your close up here, or you want to be about to. And so the director would start to feed lines that would potentially help that actor get to that emotional state. And we don't have to worry about a lot of that stuff with AI, but it is important to recognize that when it comes to the blocking, it's a relationship. It's something that happens between not just the scene and the characters, but the director, the scene, the characters, and just the entire world that you're putting together for your audience. If you want to see a movie that really goes into, my first movie I can think of when it comes to really amazing blocking is Children of Men. Children of Men has amazing blocking because they did some wicked camera gantry stuff related to the car scene. That's 100% worth seeing the behind the scenes of how they did that. But another movie that I think is a lot slower paced and a lot more interesting for what we're doing is the Cats one. Hold on a second. I have to pull it up really quick. It is American Splendor, I think, is what it's called. I'm just going to double check to make sure. Yes. Okay. American Splendor. It features Paul Giamatti playing Harvey Pekar, who is one of Crumb's writers for his comics, like Fritz the Cat and a lot of other controversial comics from the 70s. The reason why that movie has amazing blocking in it is because we are in real time transitioning between Paul Giamatti and the actual person, Harvey Pekar, through like these kind of semi-real documentary moments where he is being interviewed on a white background and being talked to, but the director knows what shots he's going to be moving towards, so he positions the blocking of Harvey Pekar in each shot, and it's a beautiful transition that they do from each interview scene to when he's actually living these moments as Paul Giamatti in the past. Amazing movie. Highly recommend American Splendor to all you guys. It's probably one of, in my opinion, one of Paul Giamatti's like best movies that people just don't talk about. But otherwise, it's just really important for us to be able to say, like, to translate as much of the filmmaking terminology that has been established by over 100 years of movie making to what this new medium is going to let us be able to do. Okay, so now that we have this, this shot here pretty much cleaned up, we use the editor to clean this up to get us the shots we want here, or just to clean up certain details. So now we have our shot. I'm going to upscale this to the gallery. And this is another example of where in the editor I will also upscale this 2 or 3 times because I want to get the best result possible. It is one of those where it's a lot more subtle than creative versus the upscaling just default with editor, but there is a difference. There's a very subtle difference, but it's one that I need to point out because at least when you're doing video, any of these kind of weird highlights will influence the videos. So let's zoom in here and take a closer look at all 3 of these upscales. They may not look very different. I'm actually cycling between all 3, but there's a certain gradient or noise that probably is not translating for the bit rate for you guys here. So this is what I'm gonna do. Inside of VC Text, I am going to link the 3 shots themselves, and I want you to be able to just cycle through these 3 images just so you can kind of see what I'm talking about, okay? The main things we're looking at here is the quality of the actual gradients and color that the upscale applies here. You guys are just licking Paul Giamatti gifts now. It's just him breaking himself out of a window. That's hilarious. Thank you for linking the trailer for that as well, Kiki. But if you look at this, look at like the highlights and the color palette itself. I'm looking for the ones that feel the least like kind of like deep fried compared to the others. It's kind of hard for me to describe. It's the first one that looks really good to me. But it is we're essentially looking for which one has the cleanest results. So let's go for copy that. Okay. And now let's zoom ourselves out of this. Okay. At this point, now that we know we like this shot, we like what we're seeing here, okay, we could just throw this up into Animate and not run any prompt at all, just animate it, see what it does with this scene. But that's just blindly like shooting at the hip and hoping that you get something good out of that. Instead, what we should be doing is referring to our copy, our Photoshop project here, okay? And you can see that we have, we just need to update this. Now, this is something I do often with my comics, okay? I will take this image here and I will right click and hit make a smart object out of this. And then I will hit edit contents of that smart object. And now that I have the newer version of this in my clipboard, right, where we fixed up the hands and we did a little bit of tweaking to add another hand here, as well as get rid of this golden belt loop, I can now just paste this into here and it'll be 1-to-1 with the previous image. I can just, open up my layers here and easily turn on and off the new and old version, or the new version of it, right? The reason why I do it this way is so that I can just save the smart object, like as if it's its own project, save the smart object, and now any edits that I do to this image here can apply to the old version too. So if there was something I liked about the old version that's not showing through with the new one, guess what? I can just reveal that underside of it without it being like a dedicated layer that I have to keep track of. It's just Everything is nested within that smart object now, and it's so much better. And thank you so much for joining, KSU. I'm excited to see you contributing. I've seen you here before, so I'd love to have you contributing some characters and stuff, or using other people's characters to make new scenes like this. So, okay, now that we have this updated, I would normally do this with all three shots. I would go through and confirm that we are, that we are getting decent results out of these, or sorry, that we're going in with completely clean, decent imagery. Like I can see his pinky's a bit weird here. That kind of stuff I would clean up normally. But for the sake of time, I am going to bring us back into Midjourney. And let's first take a look at what our automated video did, okay? And you could see that we are getting this just general kind of puppeted movement because we are not giving any direction to this whatsoever, but it does let us know what the image prompting is doing. What the image interrogation is doing, what it's able to understand from this image just right off the bat. We are running in low motion. It would be better if it was in high, that kind of thing. But we understand that Midjourney is not seeing this as an approach of the character nearly as much. It's a little bit of a slide here. It kind of reminds me in the movie Mars Attacks, like when the alien is covering herself up. When the alien is in disguise as the buxom blonde woman and walks like kind of basically floating on a conveyor. That's what Gal's reminding me here. He looks like he's on a conveyor belt with this scene. So why don't we now give proper direction for this shot? Okay. So the purple wizard. Let's do a wizard in a purple robe. The wizard in a purple robe approaches the rogue from behind, and I'm gonna do this iteratively. I'm gonna see what I need to do to get us to the shot that we're imagining here. We might also need to set up a blank and then have the character walk into frame, but we have no way of telling Midjourney right now that, hey, if I say purple wizard, I mean this guy, right? And then reference an image or something. I hope that we see that soon, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I want to be able to see omni-reference used in video. Oh yeah, that would be amazing. But we'll wait and see what happens. It's been asked for before, but now it's most likely that because of the way that this shot is set up, it has no reference to understand what Gal's hair looks like with this shot particularly. Okay, so we may need to start describing the things that are outside the frame that it doesn't understand. For now, anyway, with just prompts. If you've taken any of like Rhapsody's lessons or classes as well, you would know that she focuses a lot on the written prompts as the way to guide the imagery. I focus a lot on providing the imagery in order to guide the final result. So this is an example of where you could take her, focus on prompt spells and put that into this character, and you could see the approach is a lot better here. But it is still one of those things where when we have the ability to say, hey, here's the shot without the character and here's the shot with the character, it'll be a lot easier to get more control of this particular moment. But for now, this is actually looking pretty good in terms of just getting the character to approach her and understand that she's there. Okay. So let's move on to the other two shots so that we can start to do some more dynamic camera movements here. Because whatever shot we start with is just the starting frame. Especially if a character doesn't have their hands inside the image, you can prompt them to pull out anything you want them to. This is what blew my mind the first time I played with Midjourney Video, was just saying, hey, I'm actually holding a fishbowl with a mermaid in it, right? And then Victor will pick up a fishbowl from out of frame, as long as his hands were not in the shot, so that we don't have to waste the frames of reaching out of frame to grab it. You will be able to pull up anything. So we have this image here of the two characters talking. Why don't we have her threaten him? right? It again, I'm not 100% happy with this image. We didn't do any in painting on it. His beard's wrong, that kind of thing. I'm not worried about that right now. I just want to show you guys what you can do in Midjourney video. We can now say that the white hair rogue. They both have white hair though. Let's just go with the rogue. The rogue wearing a face mask pulls out a large knife and threatens the purple wizard. I do a lot of goofier stuff too. I mean, if you want to if you just want to have goofy interactions with random characters or random props, it is a lot of fun. If you have a specific prop in mind, unless you are really prompt engineering that down to just words only with no imagery, you're going to have a little bit of a harder time. And look how instantly it does what I ask it to do. It blows my mind. It just blows my mind how well this works. To essentially pull open or pull out any sort of object we need our characters to have. MJ is so good. It literally was like a night and day difference for so many people I work with, was just MJ video, honestly. Okay, so now she has it here, but the face mask is 100% not registering. She's definitely talking through all this, and this is really funny to me because, yeah, your face shouldn't have a mouth like that. Let's see here. It could be something you could always in post. You can always do hold frames and get rid of the mouth that way. But I would much rather do this with prompting here inside of the video. So a rogue wearing a face mask pulls out a large knife and threatens the purple wizard. It's the threatening part that's making her speak here, right? And points it at the wizard. Negative prompts do not work with video, so you cannot say no speaking or anything like that. But I am curious if I put it into high motion without mentioning any sort of verbal threat or anything like that, if we could maybe get a bit more of a dynamic moment between the two of them. We haven't applied any camera direction at all with this either. So if we go back to our original prompt here and say that instead of threatening or pulling out a knife or anything like that, we say that we spin around two characters speaking in secrecy inside a giant coliseum. And I am butchering these words right now. Thank you for spell check for me at the moment. Coliseum. There we go. There is also one parameter with video to keep in mind, which is that we have raw as well. And raw is going to more likely take your words very literally, and it's not going to embellish on your prompts nearly as much. So the fact that she's still talking here, right? Like we could cut this video early and say, okay, this is good enough. Don't worry about when she talks, that kind of thing. But let's try running the one where she doesn't speak, or we are trying to get her not to speak. Let's run it with -- raw and then submit that. It says, let's see, Enid is saying, for other vidgens, you can prompt character spin silently or as they quietly listen. Oh, quietly listen is a good one. Instead of no talking, prompt for what you want silence in ways that fit your prompt. Okay, that's interesting. The silence aspect is interesting. But even this, we're still seeing a bit of a mouth on her. So she stands in silence will probably work with this. And so this is we spin around. You can see the characters are very much moving and talking. Let's try to say we spin around the two characters. That's how I get no mouth movements too. Okay, so let's say they both, let's say that she stands in silence as we spin around two characters speaking. Okay, it's speaking in secrecy. It's doing it again. Inside a giant coliseum, as we spin around two characters inside of a giant coliseum. The purple wizard is threatening her as she stands in silence. You got to find a way to prompt in positives. It's like manifesting. Right. So let's see. This is with the raw and motion high. I don't think she talks in this one. There you go. Yeah, I mean, because the motion high, he also pulls out a sword. We did not get that with the low motion. But with the what is it? With this one here, like yeah, we're gonna see how this newest one comes out, where there is clearly a intent of making her not speak, but Gal is speaking. That's my only real intent with this one. After we've explored the video for a bit. Okay, look at that. That's awesome. And like I said, I didn't fix up anything with like his pinky or anything like that. It's fine. I'm not worried about that. This is exactly the shot that we intended to have, though. But the only thing we're missing is the spinning around the characters. There is a little bit of a background shift that's here, but she is not speaking. I think in any of these results. That's all thanks to Enid's suggestion there of standing in silence. I love her sass so much. Which with this little. Okay, yes. Okay, I want to take a look at some of your images here, and we're gonna go through the homework next. Awesome, guys. So there you go. Like we can already start to construct this scene really heavily. But again, my focus today was on compositions and blocking. So we are setting up our moment between these two characters to speak. My what I imagine here is that Gal has needs to hire an assassin to go after our heroes, and the assassin is Topaz here. I don't know if that is in line with Zero's envision or vision for Topaz here, but that's what it feels like to me. To basically have this rogue character, and we would need to figure out a weapon system for her and do all that kind of stuff. I'm not worried about getting into those details today. I just wanted to show you guys that this is going to be a very interesting potential for storytelling with Midjourney Video, particularly how to control it with the video prompts as dynamic turnarounds that we can use like this, right? In fact, I'll put her a little there. You can see the spinning around is just there's so much power behind that. Being able to control how these two characters are able to talk within the same frame. We've worked with some very, very, very simple images, like simple compositions this time around. There are way more complex compositions, especially the ones that I linked earlier inside of VC text. I will share that within the knowledge base for you guys in a more consumable way. But if you guys just want to cheat sheet yourself immediately to that post, it's right here. I'm just going to link it in VC text. Okay. Let me write a description for it here though, so that everyone knows what this is. Composition shot list guide, complete guide. I did use ChatGPT to help me out with some of the kind of like formatting and in any shot styles that I was missing or compositions that I was missing, but the blocking is about relationship. It's about the continuity between or the psychology between shot to shot to shot to shot. So now I think we're going to do our video session here. I'm going to check what homework we have. Let's go ahead and zoom us out a bit here. In fact, now I'm just going to use the tablet to do it. I think that's going to be the easiest way for me to consume the video here. I might need to turn on some audio settings so that you guys can hear it. But if not, I will just link it inside of VC text for you guys. So let's first grab the homework page here. So, for anyone that's new to Gnarly Studios, you just can submit characters to the character portal right here. And that's where we got Topaz. That's where we got Gal. That's where all of our characters are. Just make sure you set a tag for them when you submit. So, it's a western, it's a villain, it's a monster, that kind of thing. The tags help out people navigate the character portal because I think we're at 200 something characters. We have a lot of characters. I honestly went to the very end of the list to grab Topaz because I was like, no, 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 no. Let's change it up a little bit. But a new character that was just submitted was Silene from Alara here, and that's a very cool, spooky character. Uh, let's see here. I didn't have fast time left to do the week's homework. Spent it all on permutations. I hear that. I hear that. It's all good. There's always a chance that we don't end up, getting to the homework sometimes. So it's not a big deal. But it will still be continuous scene. We're going to extend the Mid-Journey video for another week. So and then we hopefully will have a lore drop soon for the fantasy series. So I know it's been eager. There's been plenty of people that have been wanting to bite into that already. It's being worked on, guys. It's just we want to make sure it's right when it comes out. So that'll be for the Phantasma series. Let's go ahead and grab now our challenges, and then inside of challenges, you're going to find the week 2 of our homework, and the Zero beautifully put it all together for us to be able to submit your scenes, and we're just very curious to see what you come up with. So let's see here. There's a couple questions about tools. Okay, so let's go ahead and open up Lolo's first. They are saying, so the previous theme were very complicated with multiple characters interacting, so I decided to make a video clip from one using an Udio song. Still, I only made half the song. Okay. I should be able to play the audio from this. I'm curious at what happens if it doesn't work, but okay, yes. Okay, so we are getting this lined in for the video feed. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to hear it, though. Actually, no, I don't think you guys will be able to hear it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to save it, and I'm going to post it inside of VC Text for now. And the reason why you guys can't hear it is because actually Discord's not set up for you guys to be able to hear things from me today. Rhapsody and I rushed through setting all this up yesterday, and she did an amazing job, spent over an hour with me troubleshooting my audio cables and streaming setup. But we just didn't get to that point, so I'm going to just link Lolo Soon's video here inside of VC Text for you guys. Feel free to watch it alongside. In fact, while that's going on, I'm going to see the other ones that are here. Good, including the video as well. Just going to download those. We'll download the next one already. Okay. So I got to give it a good 10 seconds, actually a little while to get this uploaded. Kinky, do you want to do the announcements?
Hey, sure thing. Hello, I'm Kinky Kong, as you may or may not know. I am part of the community here on Midjourney, and every weekend I run an event called Prompt Battles. And at Prompt Battles, what we do is we all prompt the same challenge for 10 minutes over and over again throughout the day. But the fun part is what happens after we prompt the same challenge. We put that into a poll. A poll unit is a software where we can all see our images without knowing who put them there or who's voting for them. And then we vote for them. And nobody will know who voted for you because of said software. And then after we vote for them, we figure out who won that vote. And whoever won that vote gets to issue the next challenge. Not only do they get to issue the next challenge, but they also win a fast hour from Midjourney. There are a couple ways to win fast hours during prompt battles. And one of them doesn't even include winning the game. You can get a free fast hour just for participating. So I really hope you join us this weekend. We do this Saturday and Sunday from, oh, thank you so much, Carlos. From 3:30 p.m. Eastern to 9 or 10 p.m. Eastern, whichever, I can't remember right now. And then at 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. on Sunday. And there's all sorts of events here on Midjourney, but we're talking about prompt battles right now. Um, so I really hope you show up and play with us. You can stay all day, but you don't have to because, but I mean, but you will find a bunch of people who do stay all day. They, um, they're crazy, but I love them so much. You can make lots of friends, win free fast hours, learn how to prompt things that you didn't think of before, and you'll find yourself using a lot of it in the future when you're, perhaps prompting something that you didn't think you were going to. It's a great way to learn how to prompt and afford your mad prompting habit. I hope you have a great day, and if I don't see you on the weekend, I'll see you next time here.
Thank you, Kinky.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. Um, all right, let's check out your all's homework. Now that our sponsored spot is is that what we're gonna call it now? Is done here. So let's watch the first video here. This one is from Lolo. Again, if you guys will not be able to hear audio, I apologize, but it is something that you can find the clips inside of VC text. So let's give this a watch.
Silent shadows in my mind, been taught since I was just a child. Boys don't cry, hold it all inside. These words become our prison walls, while no one sees the way we fall. Behind the mask we slowly die. They say you have to man up. Swallow down those tears. Have to man up. Hide away your fears. But underneath this armor, there's a heart that needs to speak. I'm drowning in the silence of the strength I'm meant to keep. Sunday games and father's pride, that's where emotions learn to hide. Shake it off, don't make a scene.
Oh, that's cool. I'm going to kind of scroll through it here a little bit. So I do like the style, of course. Lolo, you always do these really dramatic black black ink compositions basically, and they look really cool. I do like the eye reveal a lot with this. The only problem I have with it is that the shadow is being respected as part of the hat as opposed to the shadow for the eye. Um, this is something that is just common with Midjourney, especially with negative space. Uh, so this would be one of those things where, yeah, it is something that. By the way, Kinky, all the audio is sadly getting routed out of my Discord at the moment. So you'll have to manually play
Oh,
it.
okay.
My bad on that.
No worries.
That's just the bug for this week. Next week we'll have it fixed. But the key thing is that the main issue I had with this, like I understood what you were going for, which is like the struggle of performance in football and whatnot, between seemingly maybe like an older brother or like a friend character that's kind of pushing this other character to perform. I do dig that. The main problem I have with this is the fact that the images are full of rain, which means that when you run them through video, it sees them largely as speckles on the glass, which is what happened with my background as well. Um, I would have taken the time for just the starting frame, right? For just the starting frame of this, I would have taken the time to remove every bit of rain that's on here and run it, and then run the video prompt to include rain itself, as opposed to it being in the image. The balance between what should be in the video prompt and what should be actually in the image is something that's going to take a lot of time for us to get right. Rain is the most obvious for us, but it's been an issue for lightning. It's been an issue for basically any particulate that's in the air, like dust, that kind of stuff. I oftentimes find it a lot better to just write that in the video prompt rather than to include that in the image, so that we avoid this misinterpretation of what these lines on the lens are. So beware of particulates. Yeah, you hear that a lot from me. Um, So the otherwise though, I think I love the performance of this of
Swallow.
when he's yelling from the sidelines of the football game. I love the performance of that. Very, very cool. Thanks for submitting this, Lolo. It's interesting. Um, it does have the cool rain on the lens vibe. It does. But the problem with this is that rain on the lens will only have the circular speckles, while the vertical lines are evoking motion. And without them falling, that motion is kind of, you could tell if I hold on any individual frame, it looks right. You know what I mean? But as soon as you play it in motion and you notice that they do not fall, they kind of just wibble wobble. Um, that's where we run into that limit. So, yeah, if you extrapolate this, right, like extrapolate each individual frame that you really like from this, you can clean up that vertical line issue, like wibble wobble. Yeah. Okay. All right. So this is really cool, Lola. Thanks for submitting it. In terms of the actual like video editing and all that stuff, I think it's actually pretty decent. I would have tried to focus on like why is this character yelling at the other one? Like what is the statement being said here? That would be that's the only point of confusion that I have here. But okay, cool. Next video. Let's see here. We have and while this is uploading, I'm going to already submit the next video onto this as well. So we have Tanner. And I'm going to just play it and then read through your consistency statement here. Oh, I gotta hide myself. That was awesome, Tanner. Let's turn me back on here real quick. Okay, so Tanner, I love what you're going for here. Like if I replay this one more time here, why is it lagging? Hold on. Oh no, the video is broken for me. Hold on a second. Let me refresh this. It's probably because there's just so many other things happening in my Discord right now. uh, yeah, let me reopen this again. I'll just refresh it. Okay. So I can tell that the character is meant to be evoking sadness of seeing the death of the growth around him, and I really love this. I love the growing through the cracks and seeing this slow pan back is just awesome. There is a little too much foliage at the beginning to evoke this as the scene, right? But I do like this shot especially. I'm able to ignore the fact that we have a character walking with a lot of greenery around them, and then suddenly it's gone, simply because I know that this is the intent of what you wanted to say here. It could be one of those things where we could like mask the outside of this and turn and get rid of the green, right? In order to sell the colors a bit more for the next shot, because you notice here that you have these kind of like dried out reeds or grass all around here, right? That means that the only thing you have to do is color correct the green out of the sides here, and you'd be able to sell that transition really well. Outside like the colorful flowers and stuff, but at least in terms of muting the green, that's all it would take to get this done here. I do like his performance. I do think the eyes not closing actually hurts the shot a bit, because like you really gotta think, like if you're crying, right, you're probably with your pupils like covered up partially by the bottom of your eye, right? So maybe in the video prompt I would have said that that the character is like smudged or blushed to the face, or otherwise like pressing into their face somehow. I know you guys can't see me doing that on this VTuber, but yeah, I think that's saying that there is some element of, pushing face into hands, that kind of thing will help a lot for this. But I do love the shot itself, though. It's super good. I love this, like the touching of the ground, and then the putting of the hands down. That is amazing, Tanner. This is fantastic right here. Love that. The crying is totally sold on this shot. So you can see this is what I'm talking about. A little bit of the underlip, the under eye kind of bends upward. We have the eyebrow pitching down to be sad, while here the eyebrow is kind of static, right? We get a little bit of that via the camera angle, but this sells the sadness so much more. And it was really smart of you to cut in that reaction as he's doing the growth, because I can tell that this is the same video clip, right? Is this an extend that you did here? And you're masking the extend with this shot right here. That's what I figured is happening. Very, very cool. Very, very nicely done. And this is a good, a reveal of him here. Eventually, I want to be able to see, like, okay, let's reveal the wings, like, kind of like picking up into the extend of this. That would be very cool. So that you can be like, okay, this is what's in front of him, kind of a thing. And there you go. That's really cool. Great job, Tanner. Let's see here. Who's next? Oh, we have Fun Guy Mancer. And Fun Guy actually uploaded a YouTube video. Still a work in progress. First day playing with DaVinci. Didn't finish the music composition, so no sound. That's fine. Big thank you for everyone who helped. Following not on a mission in Enchanted Forest. Okay, let's see what happens here. Oh, I gotta mute myself. Okay. Wow. Ooh. Yeah. Right. Yeah. I'm loving this. Let's go ahead and see what we got. So we got the moon rising up at the end here. I didn't see that. Okay. Cool. So this is a great way to show that there is, like, activity happening in a quiet forest here. Very, very cool. Again, we are getting a lot of rain in the prompts. It is something that because in terms of editing continuity of rain, it can be really tough, right? So can just keep that in mind whenever putting this together. My immediate criticism, though, for you actually has to do with the cutting, the editing. I'm not a big fan of the fade to blacks. To me, it feels, I mean, like, Star Wars is known for doing, like, like circular fades and transitions and stuff like that. But a fade to black usually has this emotional, like, value to it. I wanted to see this kick happen a lot sooner. So, like, we have the talking here. It's like, maybe this is a warning about don't mess with the mushrooms. And he's like, I mess whatever I want. And then he kicks it instantly, as opposed to a fade to black here. I would recommend just a hard cut to him yelling at the mushroom and kicking it. And we have our snicker or laugh. That's great. Again, this is like the fade to black, I think maybe works a little better when you're talking about, like, the death of that mushroom, right? Or the attack of it. I definitely would be more like, all of this is great. I'm loving the fact that you're saying, hey, the mushrooms are communicating with each other because they're all one, mycelium entity, right? And the thing is about this is that I would say that the two shots of because we have the mycelium communication happening shown here. That's great. I would get rid of, again, the fade to black here, and maybe add a shot of this character as a mushroom that they then stand up and become this image somehow. And then instead of cutting back to the mycelium doing the effect here, I would cut to her at this drum, like she's just standing up, and then suddenly she bangs on another mushroom that's beside her. And the only other thing this scene really needs, in my opinion, is we need to have whatever effect is chasing this gnome, right? We need that to be coming from the drum. We need to establish that these little, like, spores are an effect of something nearby the gnome or coming from the drum, or anything to establish where these things are coming from, because I know that this shot is a work. I know all this is a work in progress for you. So I that would be my main concerns, is making sure that the spores are introduced, that you cut directly from the spores communicating to her, listening to those communications in some way, and just jump immediately to her banging on the drum, because I think that would sell the beats better. So, awesome. Okay. It's an awesome piece of work, considering you only had less than a week to do it. Right. Yeah. Don't let my notes feel like I'm being critical, because I have to give notes in a sense that, like, it's important to establish this stuff. But I really just want to take the time to say you did a great job, and this is something that I'm excited to see what you do with it next. Okay, let's see who's next. We have Zero. Zero is going to be the last one for today. Let me go ahead and open this up and rewind. There you go. Oh, we got some Gundam. This is so good, Zero. Oh man. Okay. Hold on. I hate that there was no time for sound. No. This, the fact that this sells it so much without sound is really good. I love this. I'm a big fan of Evangelion. I think you probably know this by now. So seeing any kind of big mech fighty times is great. What I'm imagining here is the dialogue is, all right, you need to come into for, it's, you're done, kind of come back to the ship. Now I do want to make one note, which is this shot right here. The shadow that the ship has right over the water makes the planet look a lot smaller. If you want the ship to be to otherwise not look like it's utterly massive, or otherwise like this big, the planet is much smaller, shrink the shadow. If you shrink the shadow significantly on the spaceship, it'll feel a lot more like it's floating above the planet, rather than maybe like a thin atmosphere on a watery planet kind of thing. There's no sound in space, so the silence is perfect. Yeah. But now, if we take a look at this scene here, you might even want to do it to where you cut the first, I would say, 2 seconds out, right? Like, so imagine we're playing it from here. The act of like cutting to that moment to where you can just instantly drop the audience into this scene is, I think, helps. I really like this conversation that these characters are having here. You will be able to isolate, I'll just rewind it back here again. If you notice here, the background characters barely move, and that's okay because we could isolate another render of this scene where you focus the video prompt entirely on the people in the background, right? And as long as the camera is there, it's like a static camera, you'll be able to overlay these people all talking and reacting to what's happening in this moment. I was really impressed that you got the character to walk out of the mech at all, honestly. But this close up is gorgeous. It's just gorgeous. It's so good. And I cannot wait to see the dialogue that you have between these two characters here. I would do a split frame right here where I would take another render, right? Like imagine you split the video in half and you have another render on the right side of the video in order to get this character to turn around or speak or otherwise interact with the acting of the blue-haired character here. That would be that would be my only note here because she's a little too static. The background's a little too static. All these things we can fix in After Effects pretty easily. But I love the fact that there's this character that comes out and it's so good. Like you did such a good job. What did you do to get this? Did you composite two videos together, or is this all a video prompt? You just described a red-haired character coming out of the ship, or did you reverse video frame, or is this reverse footage? I don't know. What did you do, Zero? What did you do? let's zoom ourselves back out and take a look at what chat is like here. Holy meeps, these were all awesome, right? Yeah, Alistair, they were great. So many questions. I know it was a bad decision to let them face opposite directions. Yeah, it's okay. That's what happens. Ooh, I'm gone. Hold on a second. There I am. Okay. So let me find my files. Yeah, I'm really mostly curious about the guy walking out of the ship at the end. I was curious if it's something where you had what was your starting frame, and what did it take to get you to get to that point. Like I'm just very curious. But otherwise, I do want to mention to you guys that we have the show after the show. Legal Beagle will be hosting it with me. But the show after the show is where you can come onto the Gnarly Studio server. Thank you so much for linking that, Kinky. You can come onto the Gnarly Studio server and actually ask us, or just talk to us on stage and show off what you're doing. Hang out with us, get to know the other people here, that kind of thing. We really do love the community that we've built. There's over 2,000 of you now, and the voice chat can get a little busy, but it is something that I'm excited to kind of dig into all this stuff with you guys on like a personal level. Like we got a guy, Potato, who I'm blanking on his last name, Potato Propagator. That's it. And he's doing like children's stuff related to like sweet potatoes and things like that. It's very cool. And he's coming in as an expert, right? You know, like an expert of gardening and everything like that. So just being able to dive into other people's expertise and find new passions, new interests is such a fun thing to do. Fungi Mancer said, great videos, guys. Y'all are awesome, and thank you for the critiques, Richter. Yeah, I always just worry about being a little too, because it's like, I know that you guys don't have full control of this stuff, right? You know, like sometimes it can feel like I'm being critical of you when I'm not. I'm actually being critical of like and Midjourney as much as I'm being critical of like the direction or choices made, because at the end of the day we don't have all those things, you know what I mean? We don't have that the full control of the situation, but that allows for the creative freedom to fill in. But that notes are the things that I would have changed, that I would have ventured into different directions to find for more dynamic compositions, that kind of thing. All right, so Zero said, I removed the door, composite the character, cut him in half, and animate. I know you did a lot of manual work on this. Oh wow, that is awesome. That's very cool. So when it came to this shot, so like, did you just get the doors to open and then use that last frame as a new start frame? That's my last question really for the night, is just understanding how you went from one to another, because I'm looking at it now. Yeah. It's basically like you could have easily had a static shot of like no one in the room and then just fade to black or fade the video in. That's very cool. We'll let you answer that, and then I'm just gonna take a moment to thank you guys so much for sticking around to the end of the stream here today. There's been a lot of people coming in, a lot of this. Yeah, it's like, okay, wait. Zero said, yeah, it refused to open the silver door, so I cut it out and add the conversation scene so the cut isn't obvious. That's how you do it. That's how you edit. Honestly, like editing is a matter of it's so often that you can be with the greatest director you've ever met, but a great director knows how to communicate with their actors. That doesn't mean that they're necessarily good at beats and timing and understanding the construction of the movie as much as you may think. The editor does so much work to get the final beats, the final vibe, the final, like, everything comes from the editor, not the director. And that's where you guys get to excel, is by, like, I recommend taking editing classes. Like, if you have a local community college, go take an editing class, because it's going to benefit you so much at what you can do with AI video moving forward. Because all that blocking stuff we did earlier is largely just a faster way of doing it traditionally when it comes to setting up with a physical actor in a scene, because that all costs money, that all costs a ton of, like, setup and time to do. You can do all that with AI now, and it's so cool that we can do that here. So thank you so much for sharing your insight on this, Zero, as well. I loved everything that we saw from Lolo and Fungi Mancer and the rest of you guys too here. Thank you guys so much for submitting. Tanner, of course, Tanner, yes. And it's just, at the end of the day, guys, I just thank you guys so much for being here, hanging out, and I hope to see you at the show after the show on our server. It's gonna take money. Yeah, exactly. But thank you to Kinky and Ancient for co-hosting with me today.
Oh, thank you.
No, and this has been a lot of fun. I can't not wait to see you guys at the show after the show. I'll see you all there. Have a good night.
Bye bye.
Bye.